Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at Spiel 2012. I'm sitting with Scott and Mike from WizKids Games.
Hello.
Are you just WizKids or WizKids Games?
WizKids Games.
WizKids Games. All right, there we go. And you guys have brought us over the Lord of the Rings, the dice building game.
Yes. We're very excited to show this off. This is a prototype copy that we're showing off here at in Essen.
Which I gotta say, this is fantastic quality for a prototype copy.
Yeah, there's still some tweaks we'll be making before it comes to final production. But I did want to go through and explain for all the people who love Quarriors, or all the people who love Lord of the Rings and would like to try a new game.
Or for the people who love both.
Absolutely, and put them together. We have Lord of the Rings dice building game. If you're familiar with the dice building game that was pioneered in Quarriors, designed by Mike Elliott and Eric Lang, then you'll recognize the basic game mechanics of the gameplay of purchasing dice that are improving your dice collection. However, the Lord of the Rings dice building game overlays the storyline of the Lord of the Rings, and you play through the different locations in Middle-earth and fight against Sauron. You play cooperatively, fighting against Sauron's dice. One player will control Sauron, and it rotates around players around the table. And you have to defeat all of his creatures in each location before you can move on, and you have to go through 8 different locations to win the game. If Sauron's creatures survive when it comes around to his turn again, he scores corruption points, and he can corrupt dice in the wild, which means that they become useless for the game while they're corrupted. So if you draw them, they go right to your use pile. And you can also spend your points to uncorrupt them. If he corrupts too many, then Sauron wins, the game ends. Otherwise, as you're playing through, you are scoring points, and if you do defeat the game, at the end of the game, the person with the most points is considered the winner.
Now, how similar is the gameplay on every turn, like to Quarriors?
It is the basic mechanic, the dice building mechanic is going to be very recognizable, but the storyline element does change the game, and the fact that you are working more cooperatively and not fighting against each other directly.
Very unusual too that there's certainly plenty of games out there that have that one versus many feel to it, but not where the one person keeps shifting around the table.
Yes.
So now, Mike, since Quarriors was obviously yours, now are you the lead designer in this as well?
Eric and I did the Quarriors game system, and there were a couple other guys, Brett Myers and Jeff Stahl, who helped out finishing kind of the story mechanics and several of the other corruption mechanics that were layered on top.
Are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes, I am.
That helps, since I'm sure you've been staring at the artwork for a while. Now, obviously, you guys, I'm guessing, got the licensing rights from the movie series, which is fantastic. So this is what the original artwork, or the finished artwork is going to look like? Or I say artwork, but
on the cards, we use imagery from the movies.
Right.
So the cards are very close to what they'll be in terms of the imagery, and a couple of tweaks. And then with the Lord of the Rings license, we do also have another game that we're doing that's Lord of the Rings that Mike will talk about.
Yeah,
that is our Connect with Pieces puzzle game. And we'd be happy to. But the dice building game here is adds in that storyline element, so it has a little bit of a different feel and a different flow than Quarriors, which is really sort of light and fast. This has a little bit of a longer gameplay time, but not too much longer.
Well, actually, how long is it then?
It's about 30 to 40 minutes. It really depends on how well Sauron is rolling. If he rolls over a lot of big creatures that you have to send hobbits against, then you might have a little bit of a harder time.
I have this mental image of these huge dice like coming rolling out of his tower across the landscape of Mordor.
And there is similar as in Quarriors. There's alternate cards that correspond to dice for the different weapons, elven gifts, and heirlooms, which are the equivalent of what spells are in Quarriors. And then on the character cards, they're double-sided, so you can have alternate versions that correspond to those dice.
And
so there's a variation
all
in
custom
gameplay.
dice like you had in Quarriors
all custom
as well.
dice, correct.
Now, how many does this play?
This is a 1 to 4 player game.
Oh, so we got solo play too.
I'm sorry, 2 to 4 players.
Oh, okay, so we don't have a
2 to 4
solo play.
No, we do not have solo play.
We may put a solo play variant at some point.
Or an expansion perhaps.
Maybe.
Now, do you guys have an idea of when this is going to hit retail in the States?
We are looking at releasing this in January of this coming year. So look for it then.
We already hit January of this.
I'm sorry. This coming
January. There we go. Sorry to call you out on that one. All right. Well, Scott and Mike, thank you so much for showing us
Thank you.
Lord of the Rings, the dice building game.